Okay. Liquid courage to Mike Davis.
Welcome to the Sleeper Wire show, everybody. It is week 8 and Halloween weekend. Professor Chris and Nader with you here as usual. Nader, how are you doing on this spooky Thursday night?
It is extremely spooky when Mike Davis hasn't gotten 7 touchdowns yet.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
Not a fan. He should Curtis Samuel, man, out there vulturing.
I can't believe it. I mean, if you throw a backwards pass to the quarterback Bridgewater, who throws a pass to Samuel, you should get points for it.
Right. Those were Mike Davis's touchdown points.
It really was.
We also have special guest Garrett Price of Dynasty Nerds. You can find him on Twitter at Dynasty Price. Garrett, how's it going, man? Thanks for coming to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. You guys are great because I'm back here. I'm a super hot mess, apparently. I'm like, hey, guys, I got like random dinner plans, so let's push this back. And, oh, yeah, I can't get my camera to work. So it's one of those nights, but I'll make up for it by crushing you guys in the draft.
Nah.
Guys, we can vouch for how good looking Garrett is.
I saw his smile.
We got a glimpse.
Looking nice.
Well, we're going to be doing something fun on the Thursday show tonight, I guess today, for depending on when you guys are listening to this. As you know, we like to do something a little bit different each week. And since we have Garrett from Dynasty Nerds on, we thought we would do something fun. We are going to redraft the 2019 and 2020 Dynasty rookie draft. So just the first 2 rounds, we're going to run through them and give them a quick redraft based on what we know right now. So we thought that would be fun with one of the Dynasty Nerd guys on here. But before we do that, Sleeper Wire has a ton of stuff going on this season. First, our Patreon page. Do you want to win a Chris Godwin or Kenny Galladay signed jersey? Once we reach 100 patrons at patreon.com/sleeperwire, we will pick one person, announce them on the show, and they will get their choice of the jersey. And even the $1 tier gets you into the contest. Also, check out the Sleeper Wire store, sleeperwire.com/store. A lot of stuff on there right now and 15% off your order. Check it out. Get that Sleeper Wire mug. It's pretty good. Pretty great. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the news. You guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Antonio Brown, the Mr. Gift that keeps on giving, signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bruce Arians said he is going to be ready to play in week 9. Garrett, what was your initial reaction to this?
My initial reaction was the feeling of being completely befuddled because my heart tells me this is Antonio Brown. This was the best receiver in the NFL for 5, 6, 7 seasons. Like, this was a fantasy gold mine. But then my head tells me, well, he's kind of a knucklehead. He hasn't played in forever, and he's 32 years old. So there's all of these different things. I love the offense he's going into. He's going to get an opportunity potentially with Chris Godwin being out for a little bit. So I'm very, very conflicted. As far as redraft goes, you got to give him an opportunity. You got to at least get him on your bench if you have the opportunity to do so, because the what if is just too great not to at least throw something out there. Dynasty, it's a little more tricky because if you didn't acquire him earlier on or you've been holding him for 3 years, you've got to figure out, is it better to hold on to Antonio Brown just in case, or are you trying to get like a second or something like that for him? That's where the real rub comes in, if you ask me.
Now, if someone offered you a second for him, would you take it?
I think I would, unless I was a absolutely legit contender that was a little bit thin at wide receiver. In that case, I might just hold in case I need him. But otherwise, especially with him, it's only a 1-year deal. He's not a spring chicken anymore. It's hard to say exactly how things are going to mesh in this offense, especially once Chris Godwin comes back. There's just so many moving parts that, as much as I think that he could be successful, I love this 2021 draft class, and especially the wide receivers in it. So I think there's still going to be some really good value in the second round, just like there was this past year.
I like it. Unfortunately, guys, COVID news is back. Los Angeles Chargers and New York Giants both had players test positive on Wednesday. So they had their facilities open. I believe both of them still had the facilities open, but the players and everyone in close contact with him was sent home until I guess a further test is done. You guys will need to keep an eye on that. Allen Robinson is in the league's concussion protocol. That is not good news for him still to be in it on Thursday. Nader, do you have high hopes for him playing this week?
No, he came out of a concussion, didn't come back in the game Monday night. I find it difficult to believe that he's going to come back on a Sunday game.
Garrett, what do you think?
I'm in the same boat. I would be surprised if we have him out there.
I think if he's still in the concussion protocol tomorrow, so on Friday, then you need to plan to not have him.
Yes, correct.
Odell Beckham Jr. tore his ACL on Sunday. He is going to be out for the rest of the season. Gardner Minshew was diagnosed with multiple fractures and a sprained ligament in his right thumb.
Sheesh.
Sleeper said his status for week 8 against the Texans is up in the air. I think that's optimistic. Don't you guys?
If you're gripping, is this on his football hand?
I mean, yeah, he's right-handed, isn't he?
Yes, you'd be correct. So yeah, I don't know how you can grab and grip a football with a fractured thumb.
Yeah, that's got to be extremely difficult. I'm curious how long he's had this. Like, has that officially been announced? Like, has he been trying to play through this? Is that what happened this past week? Like, he played this game with it, or did it happen at the end of the game? Like, I kind of missed that part of the news.
Yeah,
I think he was withholding it from the team.
Jeez. So, I mean, kudos to him. I mean, He's a guy that knows, like, his job security is not there. So he's got to make something happen. So respect on that front. But it would be tough to know if I'm the coach, I'm the front office, knowing that that's the situation. Like, give me a quarterback that has a functioning hand.
It is also kind of convenient timing for him to find out that news that we all heard that news that, they might be moving on, from Minshew after the bye.
Right.
And then it's like, by the way, I have a fractured hand and a sprained ligament, and I didn't tell you guys about it. Can I keep my job? That's why I've been playing that way.
Yeah, it's a little convenient. So
he went home and hit it with a hammer.
Yeah.
So I have a little mini question for Garrett, since he is the dynasty master here. Odell Beckham, of course, we just talked about it, tore his ACL. He is a little bit getting in there in the age part. What is your value for him?
Yeah, it's dropped quite a bit, and the hard part it had dropped a significant amount from the New York Giants days already. Like, his value was not the same. He's not getting any younger, and we're gonna be redrafting 19 and 20 here in a second, and that'll show us just how many good receivers we've gotten in the past 2 seasons. 2021 is going to offer us that too. It's going to be tough to sign a guy that's had a little bit. I don't want to say off the field issues, because there haven't been anything that like kept him out of the game, but there's some diva personality things that have always been somewhat problematic. Why would a team want to pay a lot of money to bring a guy like that in when he's not been performing up to par? And you could blame that a little bit on the Browns offense, a little bit on him, but right now I think you would be lucky to get a first for Odell.
So I offered the OBJ owner a second rounder for him, and he said that was not enough. I don't know how you feel about that.
If I'm the OBJ owner, I'm probably not accepting that either. However, if you'd been like, okay, I'll give you 2 seconds, I'd have been like, all right, fine.
That's difficult. Like you said, there are going to be a lot coming out.
I have OBJ in a dynasty, and there's no way I'd trade him for a second.
Really?
Yep. Nope.
He's getting up there in age. He's never played a full 16-game season. I feel like he's a little overrated.
I'd do it for a first.
Yeah. So I think that 2 seconds, I think that's the value right there.
That's tough.
The mesh point.
That's tough.
I like it. Well, let's move on here. Dalvin Cook will be active this week against Green Bay. That is good news. Julian Edelman had a knee procedure on Thursday morning. He's going to be out a couple weeks. We had some big names not participate in practice on Thursday. Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, Devonta Freeman, Mark Ingram, and all of the Seattle Seahawks. Backfield, anyway.
That's rough.
Yeah. Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, and Travis Homer all did not participate in practice. So, DJ Dallas, Garrett, I know you're a huge fan of him. Does he need to be picked up right now?
Oh, he absolutely needs to be picked up. And if it continues to where none of these guys are practicing, none of them are active, I'm willing to start him on Sunday. And that seems a little bit crazy for a guy that's never had a start in his career, but we know that the Seattle offense is fantastic. Russell Wilson's been passing the ball to the running back quite a bit. I mean, we're seeing very good receiving numbers out of Chris Carson this year, especially compared to what he had done previously.
Right.
And he would be there. He would be there on every single down. I think because of some of the COVID stuff and how quickly they bring guys in, I'm not even sure that there'll be other running backs active other than him if those top three are out. So it's a bad situation for that running back room. And he's a 4th round pick that the things that he did well coming in was he was a former receiver in high school. He was actually was a quarterback in high school, recruited as a wide receiver, played receiver for part of the first season at Miami, and then switched over to running back. So he's got the receiving game down, and he's a really tenacious runner down the middle as well. So I'm a big DJ Dallas fan. He's a good kid. They had nothing but positive things to say about him in the offseason. So I'm firing him up if I need to this week.
I like it. Last piece of news here. The Baltimore Ravens signed Dez Bryant to their practice squad, so he is back as well. Nader, do you think he's actually going to make it to the NFL, or is he just going to be a practice squad guy?
I can't imagine somebody as old and slow in a speedy, run-heavy offense gets solid production, or even onto the field.
Yeah, that was my question. Does he even make it to the 53-man roster?
I don't think so. Maybe in a garbage time game. Like week 17 when
week
they clinch
17.
Yes.
Yeah, they might give him that token, one game or something like that, because I just don't see it happening at this point. He looked like a shell of himself 3 years ago, so I can't imagine that we see anything similar to the true Dez Bryant anymore.
Yeah, completely agree. Well, that's going to do it for the news, guys. Before we move into our segment, redrafting the first 2 rounds of 2019 and 2020 Dynasty rookie drafts, I want to talk to you guys about Pristine Auction. They have hundreds of daily auctions for all kinds of memorabilia. It is free to join and free to bid, and you only pay when you win the auction. And right now, you can get $5 off your first item by entering promo code SLEEPERWIRE. Visit pristineauction.com to get this deal. That's PRISTINE auction.com. All right, so I am going to just take a second here, guys, and share the screen that I have the Google Sheet at. And I got to find it here. There we go. All right, so you guys can follow along with the draft here. So linear draft, just the first 2 rounds. Garrett, me, and then Nader. And Garrett, 101. Who you taking? 2019, by the way.
That's what I was going to ask. So this is separate. We're separating out 19 and 20. Correct?
We are separated. We're doing 2 separate 2-round drafts.
All right. So with being, a year and a half out now, we've seen that there's a lot of these guys that have really panned out. I think it ended up exceeding a lot of people's expectations. It was kind of always like, the 19 class isn't that great. There's not too many difference makers. And then all of a sudden there's like, there's a lot of really good players in this. Now, I do need to clarify, is this super flex or 1 QB?
You know what? Why don't we decide that right now? Because I had thought about that, but forgot to ask before the show. So
because that does change my pick for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we should go 1 QB, full point PPR.
I like it.
All right. In that case, I'm actually going to go chalk with what was happening in 2019. And so I'm still going to go Josh Jacobs. I'm very tempted by a lot of the receivers. There's a lot of really, really good receivers here. And Miles Sanders has made a really good argument for being in consideration here as well. But the thing that I like about Josh Jacobs is I think he is the best pure runner out of all of these guys. And he's being utilized more in the passing game this season than he had in the past. I think he's pretty much locked and loaded as a top 10 dynasty running back. And if we've seen anything this season, those guys are hard to come by. They're dropping like flies. They're not healthy. And so if you can get a guy, especially still as young as he is, as a cornerstone of your team, I think you got to take it. Now, I'm not necessarily truly saying that he is the best player, because I think you can make an argument that some of these wide receivers are actually better players than he is. But as far as the value for fantasy football, I think Jacobs is the guy.
Yeah, that would have been my pick as well. Super flex clearly would have been Kyler Murray, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am going to
Alrighty.
take
I want to
Miles
see
Sanders.
your pick. Oh, that was easy. Okay.
Yep, that was easy.
All right. Miles Sanders. Okay. You did that too fast. I need an explanation why.
Too fast, too furious.
Yeah.
See, that's the beauty of having Garrett on the show. He talked for long enough that I already knew who I was going to take.
So why Miles Sanders and not somebody like DK Metcalf or AJ Brown?
Because as I look through the wide receivers here, knowing what we know now, I feel very comfortable that I can get one of the guys I really like later. Or let's say, obviously it's just the three of us drafting. So let's say if I was at the 102, I feel comfortable saying I could get one of these guys that I like at the 202.
Okay, that's fair. So, I mean, I think this also goes back to your guys' point of how difficult it is to find top tier caliber running backs. So I definitely don't blame you guys for trying to lock them up as early as possible. But I'm going to have to go DK Metcalf.
It's a good pick.
DK Metcalf. I mean, if we're talking about production, best system with one of the best quarterbacks, you got to have the best wide receiver in that class.
Is he the best wide receiver in the class?
So he might not be the most talented, but he's in the best situation.
Okay.
And therefore the most productive. And well, after that, does it really matter who's the most talented?
I guess not. Garrett, who you got next?
All right. So there's two guys I really, really like here. I'm going to hope that one of them comes back to me later, and I'm going to take the guy that I think would go first and potentially the actually most talented wide receiver out of all of these guys, and AJ Brown. He's been fantastic despite it not being this crazy high passing volume offense. He's been just extremely, extremely productive, and he's the clear top guy there.
I want to fully agree there.
Okay. Sorry, I had nothing to add to that. Sorry for that weird pause. I agree.
I saw you take it like a sip of something over there.
You did.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to throw my pick, Terry McLaurin.
That was the other guy I was considering.
Okay. So are we going back to back basically on our own teams, or is this kind of like its own separate team that we're going right now? So like
That's a good question.
So you taking AJ Brown, for example, the next pick you have, since it's only three of us, is that continuing onto your team?
I was more considering it. Who do I have ranked at this spot based on the others that are left?
So we're not necessarily building a team. We're just taking who's the best available.
I think we can assume that we're building a team in that same draft spot. So like your 101 and your 101 and 201, right?
Okay. But
not your 101, 104, 107.
That would give me kind of a crazy huge advantage.
Yeah. All right, Nader, who's the next pick here?
So I am back on the clock, and as much as I strongly... Ooh, okay, so you guys took the clear elite talents. That leaves me with flexibility. So I'm going to go David Montgomery. Ooh. Unfortunately, while I don't think he's the most talented back, actually, I want to compare him to a broken vending machine. He's getting the most volume and, unfortunately, the most production. I spell his name incorrectly.
Yeah, you can just copy paste, man. I spelled all the names correctly.
I'm doing it on like a trackpad, and I just said it. I could just type it in. Screw it.
Here, let me copy paste that for you. There we go. All right, Garrett, back to you. Who's next?
So the rub here is, do I go with the person that I think has the most actual value in the community right now, or the guy I would personally rank the highest? And so I'm going to go with the guy that I would personally rank the highest. And it's tough because he's not healthy right now, but I think he's just such a talented wide receiver that I can't pass him up at this point. So I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel, and hopefully all of those yak yards will do me well.
He averages 6.6 yards after the catch. I mean, knowing you're going to get 1 point from the reception and then 6 points from the after the catch and whatever depth the catch is, I mean, it's hard to pass up those easy points.
Wait, do you play in a point per receiving yard league?
No.
You said
Well, I mean,
6,
technically, he averages 6.6 yards after the catch.
and you said you're going to
It
get
would be
6
yards. Yeah, there we go.
points.
My bad.
We knew what you meant.
Thank you.
I just had to call it out.
Yeah. You know what? Well deserved.
So I think after Debo, based on what we've seen so far, Kyler has to be a first round pick,
It's a good pick. I was considering him too.
even in
thought
a
about
single QB.
I thought about it also. Fine, I'll do it.
I respect it.
So I'm gonna take Daryl Henderson after that.
That was
because-
my others.
Yeah, I had a few. I thought you would personally take Daryl Henderson, so that I'm gonna have to scoop him up before you do. I mean, running backs are so difficult to find, and when you're a running back for the Rams, you just have a little bit more opportunity to elevate yourself.
So true.
All right, I'm gonna go with the guy that I didn't think he would be here because I know how highly the community values this guy, and they're always preaching his name on Twitter. So I'm gonna go Deontay Johnson.
Damn.
I think the value is just too good at 110.
I had him selected. Yeah, I agree. Deontay Johnson, monster game this past week, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's just got to stay healthy. He got hurt again at the end of the game, and he's just been banged up a lot.
Yep.
When there's 2 to 3 other great receivers on that team, sometimes it gets a little crowded, but he's still stepping up and performing.
Yep.
Marquise Brown coming in for me at the 111.
Hollywood.
I wanted that one. Okay, so right now the talent pool has severely depleted. McCole Hardman, he's not what we'd hoped as of yet. Damian Harris, he's just in a crowded backfield. Justice Hill and Devin Singletary, they have been a little bit more on the disappointing side. Alexander Madison, he's still a backup. And I do not want any of these quarterbacks left on the list, whether that's Dwayne Haskins or Gardner Minshew. I'm going to go TJ Hawkinson in the tight end position.
Yep, I like it. All right. So to wrap up the first round of 2019 rookies, single quarterback, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, David Montgomery, Debo Samuel at 7, Kyler Murray, Daryl Henderson, Deontay Johnson, Marquise Brown, and rounding out the first round, TJ Hawkinson. Let's move to round 2. Garrett, you got the 201. Take it away.
The guy I should probably take is Devin Singletary. I've just never been a believer in Devin Singletary, and so I'm going to take the other tight end here on the board. I'm going to go with Noah Fant. He looked really good. Is it pasting? No, it's not. Copy paste. See if I can do this. There we go. He looked really good so far this season before he get his injury. He is missing a little bit of his target volume now that Albert O's involved, but he's such a good talent that I'm going to buy the player more than necessarily situation.
100% agree.
Ouch.
Let's see. Up. I know the running back or running backs I'm looking at, but based on what we've seen from this guy so far and what I expect to happen once Sammy Watkins and Demarcus Robinson move on, I'm going to take a shot on McCole Hardman.
So you're going to invest in him as of right now?
I'm investing in him.
Okay. Well, I don't blame you on that one. I would rather take Devin Singletary. Unfortunately, he had over 400 carries, I believe, in college, so he's a little worn out, and he's not producing as well as we hoped in his second year. But I'm going to go with the starting running back.
Is he? Is he the starting running back?
Starting-ish?
Starting-ish. He's getting the majority of the snaps. I guess if he's getting the majority, then I'll give it to him.
Garrett, who you got next?
It feels gross because I'm probably taking this guy and then turning around and trading him right away to the best contender. But I'm going to go Myles Gaskin just with how well he's performed so far this season. I can easily get a second and probably something else on top of it right now. So I don't necessarily believe this will last into 2021, but with who's left on the board, it's probably the best one available.
And I am taking another guy that is an investment, Alexander Madison.
That's a good pick.
So Alexander Madison has been the starting running back multiple times due to Cook's injuries, and he's been pretty disappointing as a starting running back.
He had a couple good games, didn't he?
Does that worry you? Well, I mean, of course, a couple weeks ago, he had a good matchup and the sole role, and he put up 4.5 points.
It was a rough game.
It was.
Do you feel worried by that? That he might not be the number one, but he'd be the great number two?
No.
You know what? That was the best answer I could have gone.
Look at the other running backs on the list. That was my argument for that.
Yeah.
Based on what we've seen through 1.5 seasons, there is no other guy on this list I would rather have.
That's fair. You know what? I don't even blame you for that now. So because I do not want anybody else on this list, I am going to take. So who is this? A lot of people might not like this one, but I think he is the best pure passer and the best quarterback, and he's going to have the best long-term career. I'm taking Daniel Jones.
Yep.
I like it.
That was probably the best player on the board. So
he was going to be my next one.
I considered Drew Lock, but I like Daniel Jones just a little bit more. I think he's in a worse situation than Drew Lock, and I think he's performing it better.
Garrett, who you got next?
Let's go with a guy that has made me look pretty stupid so far this year. Because I was like, oh, yeah, breakout. There's so many targets available. We saw him look great at the end of the year. It's definitely going to be Irv Smith Jr. And then he kind of face planted to start the season. These past couple of weeks, he's picked it up a little bit, but I think he's a fantastic athlete. And at some point, I do think they're going to continue to try to get him more involved. We've seen them consciously try to do it these past couple of weeks, and I think they're going to continue to do so. And at some point, Kyle Rudolph's going to fall off, and Irv Smith's going to be more or less alone there.
Is he a Evan Ingram athlete?
He's close to it. He's definitely in that style and that vein because he's kind of undersized. He's only 6'3", and a little bit more of a slender frame than some of the other guys. But he's definitely a good pass catcher. Better than Ingram. Ingram can't seem to catch the ball lately.
I hope so.
I'm going to throw my next pick on here. I think this is best player available now, Paris Campbell.
Is that because you're a Colts fan?
No, it's because if we can actually see a fully healthy Paris Campbell, we're going to see maybe the most underrated player drafted next season.
Okay, nice.
Or underdrafted player.
So I'm a little surprised Neil Harry is not taken yet, but I completely understand.
His name's not Neil Harry.
That's what I say. I say his name is Neil Harry.
He doesn't get the K until he does something.
Yeah, exactly. When he produces 1,000-yard season, he gets the K.
Okay.
Every kiss begins with a K, so I'm actually gonna skip over him also because I still don't want to give him the K. So I am going to go. So this is a complete investment pick. I want Jalen Hurd. I like him in my roster. I think he is a phenomenal athlete in a Kyle Shanahan system who just can't get healthy.
Yeah, I had a ton of Hurd on my teams, and it's been unfortunate, all those injuries. I would love to see him healthy on the field because I do think he could be really dynamic.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
We have 3 picks left. Garrett at the 210. Looking at this, it's pretty grim. Who you thinking?
I think I want to throw up. I think I guess I'm taking Damian Harris.
He's the best player on the board.
He is. He's the only one that has like sort of a shot at a job, a job that I would actually want. So, I mean, I guess a couple of the quarterbacks there could be like dart throws and Minshew and Locke and that kind of stuff. But I'm just going to go Harris.
And I'm going to take N'Keal Harry.
I kind of wanted that pick next.
Okay. And finish this round off for us, Nader.
Okay, so thought process is I already took a quarterback, or I don't necessarily need a running back. Let's see.
It's not what you need. It's who's the best player.
Yeah, exactly. Who's the best player?
Nader's still thinking this is going to be his team after the draft.
Yeah, it will be my team. Okay, so the second best running back is probably Benny Snell, so I'm going to take him. And all it takes is a James Conner injury for him to be slotted in the starting role.
Yep.
So I'm going to take him.
100%
Yep, that makes
agree.
sense.
All right, so wrapping up the second round, Noah Fant, Nicole Hardman, Devin Singletary, Myles Gaskin, Alexander Madison, Daniel Jones, Irv Smith, Paris Campbell, Jalen Hurd, and then Damian Harris, N'Keal Harry, and Benny Snell.
So who has the best team?
I think I do. No, honestly, I think Garrett does. I think those first 5 picks.
See, he took the now players. Is
Yep.
that cheating?
No, this is exactly what we're doing.
No. So this is still dynasty. We're still looking a couple years down the line.
Yeah, but this is given what we know now. We're redrafting based on what we know. That's why that Myles Gaskin pick is in there.
That's exactly why that Myles Gaskin.
Yeah, you can't tell me that Garrett was going to come on here and do that Myles Gaskin pick if Myles Gaskin wasn't playing right now.
I loved him back in 2018. He was my top running back on the board.
DK Metcalf outweighs everybody, so I win.
That might be true. He might literally outweigh everyone.
There you go.
Before we move into 2020, come prop up with us on Thrive Fantasy. It's a DFS app for player prop bets. For the NFL, you choose 10 out of 20 player prop options to build your lineup. The riskier the pick, the more points it's worth. Earn the most points to win a share of the prize pool. Use promo code SLEEPERS when you sign up today, and you'll receive an instant $20 bonus on your first deposit of $20 or more. Download Thrive Fantasy from the App Store or Play Store. And when you use promo code SLEEPERS, email a screenshot of that to us at sleeperwire@gmail.com, and it will automatically get you into a Sleeperwire listener league for next season. Let's move to 2020 rookies. And guys, I feel like there's a lot more going on in this one.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple things. One, I think it was a deeper class overall.
Yep.
But on top of that, we still are hoping for the upside of a lot of these guys. Like, we don't have as much information to go off of as we did with the class before. So I think those two things combined definitely make it a much deeper process.
For sure. Well, we're going to go in the same order. You have the 101, still a PPR single QB. Who you taking?
So does our teams overlap? Like in theory, are we still going off our last draft too?
You're reading way too much into this, man. This is not your team.
It's my team now. That's it.
No.
We played a win earlier.
We are just redrafting.
You play
2020
to win the game. All right. With the first pick, I'm going to take the same guy that I took with the first pick in most of my situations where I had the top overall guy. I'm still taking Jonathan Taylor. Similar to the last class, you could easily make an argument that the better actual player is in the wide receiver position, but we're seeing this over and over where there's just not many guys that are going to be getting the chunk of the carries. If you can get a player that can do that and also be valuable in the passing game, it's really, really tough to pass up. And I think better days are ahead for Jonathan Taylor. I know he didn't start off as quickly as we would have hoped, but usually you see the game starts to slow down for some of these rookies at times. I think it will slow down for him. And the best time to get right is off of a bye week. He just had his bye week this week. I'm still investing in Jonathan Taylor.
I like it. Yeah, it was really disappointing after Mac was out, and then the first goal line carry goes to Nyheim Hines, and he pounds it in for a touchdown. All right, 102. I am taking a wide receiver, and maybe the one that people don't expect. I'm taking Justin Jefferson.
Woo! And I don't blame you. I mean, right now, he's just playing real good football.
Based on what has happened so far, yep, the dude is great.
Okay, that leaves me in a tough position. So, actually, not that tough. I'm taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
All right, we got Jonathan Taylor, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire as the first 3 picks of this rookie draft. Garrett, who are you thinking next?
So that does put me in a tough position.
It did. I was thinking the same thing, and then I realized he's still on the board.
It feels so wrong to pass CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he just looks like a generational talent out there. That's probably slightly hyperbole, but Yeah, I'm gonna stick to my guy. I'm gonna go with J.K. Dobbins. He was actually, before the draft happened, he was my top rated running back just on my tape evaluation. With that, he went to the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. And even though the fantasy numbers haven't been there, if you watch any of the games, he has been absolutely dynamic. I mean, he has looked great out there. We're just really waiting for him to get the 15 to 20 touches a game. I think that is coming sooner rather than later. Another situation where we just got off a bye week. Mark Ingram's a little bit banged up too. This could be the coming out party for J.K. Dobbins. I'm still going here. I feel a little sick to my stomach because I did really want CeeDee Lamb, but I'm going to stick with my guy here.
Well, CD is not going to come back to you.
I didn't think he would.
J.K. Dobbins might have, though.
Maybe.
Yeah, he for sure would have.
Dang it.
J.K. Dobbins.
I needed to read the room.
Yes. I mean, the problem with J.K. Dobbins is, I mean, even when Mark Ingram's out, there's still three-headed monster in that backfield. Plus, you got to worry about Lamar Jackson running the ball. So sometimes, like, even though you're the best back, you're just not going to get the fulfilled opportunity. And because of that, you know what? I think I could get him later. So I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy. You know what? I think regardless of the situation in Dallas, he's still going to be a great back or a great receiver. Sorry.
All right. Well, I'm just going to pretend like the entire first round is my team because I'm going to feel great about this then. I'm just going to take all the running backs and just have them all on my team, and it'll be fantastic. He's looked really good the past couple weeks, and it looks like he's slowly taking over that job.
I agree. He's looked awesome. I was hoping for one more shot for Kerryon Johnson, really, but
he just doesn't look like it.
No, he doesn't look like the guy. That's true.
Even in camp when they asked him about, some of the stuff that DeAndre Swift did, I don't know if you guys remember this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was literally like, he can do stuff I can't do.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Like, why would you admit that?
That's terrible. Oh,
like no. They made the right call drafting my replacement. What?
That's brutal.
I'm gonna take the starting running back here, Antonio Gibson, who I grabbed in every one of my dynasty leagues.
I wanted him. I thought you weren't gonna take the bait, but you did. Okay.
See, I think 2020, this one's more fun because you're right, Garrett. There is more unknown to this. So there is more like the allure of this guy,
Right.
Uh-huh. So it's a little bit more fun.
Yeah, for sure.
It is. Okay, so Justin Herbert is putting up Patrick Mahomes numbers currently.
Oh.
I want him on my roster.
Justin Mahomes.
Hey, that's a better name.
Fantastic.
I mean, before the draft, I said he'd be a pretty good quarterback. I got blown away with criticism to oblivion. Feels kind of nice being right.
Just a big old middle finger, huh?
Oh yeah.
Garrett, who you thinking here to round out or your third to last pick in the first round?
There's a lot of good options still left. I'm gonna go with T. Higgins.
That's who I was gonna take.
He's looked really, really good, and you get to pair him up with Joe Burrow. I love it when a young quarterback and young receiver come in at the same time, get to work in the offseason, and he really could end up being, what AJ Green was for years there in Cincinnati. I don't know that he's going to put up quite those numbers, but I don't think it's going to be that far off.
I do a show called The Great Debate every single Monday, and had Pat Fitzmaurice on. I think it was probably about a month ago exactly, and we did Justin Jefferson versus T. Higgins, and he's a big T. Higgins fan.
Yeah, I'm all on board with that. Somebody asked me that same question the other day. Would you take Justin Jefferson over T. Higgins? And as fantastic as Justin Jefferson has played, he's clearly outplayed all the receivers up to this point, but I still believe in T and the situation a little bit more.
I'm a big fan of Justin Jefferson. I think him coming out, I personally thought he was the best receiver in that class. And he's playing like it.
Yeah, he sure is. He's played fantastic.
For sure. Well, for the my last pick in the first round here, I'm gonna take Joe Burrow.
Aw.
He's a first round quarterback in a rookie draft, even single quarterback.
Okay, and now I'm gonna get one of the other Yak brothers, and I'm gonna take Brandon Ayuk, the healthier Debo Samuel.
That's a great comp.
Thank you.
Let's move to round 2. Back to you, Garrett.
So this guy was actually my top receiver post-draft. Now, pre-draft, it was CeeDee Lamb. This guy actually came in third. But post-draft, when I got to see where he landed and everything, he actually snuck up to the top of my board. And I'm going to go – oh, I messed it up again. Here we go. Cut. Paste. Oh, the anticipation. Jalen Reagor. I'm going to go Jalen Reagor. Yes, the injuries have sucked, but I do absolutely believe in his talent. We saw week 1 just 50-yard bomb like it was nothing. I think he's going to be a game changer for that Eagles offense.
One of 12 wide receivers there. I'm going to take Chase Claypool for my next one.
Ooh, okay.
Based on what we've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. As of right now, he's probably the best receiver that is left on the draft board.
Touchdowns every game.
4 touchdowns every game, not just one. So I got to take the speedy receiver. It was between him or Cam Akers, but Cam Akers had a game of 1 snap and another game of absolutely no snaps. So when you're not getting touches, you're not getting fantasy points.
Hey, fast don't lie. All right. Give me Mr. Denzel Mims. I was a big fan of his game. He showed out at the combine, and his first week back off of injury, four catches for 42 yards. It's nothing to get overly excited about, and I'm really hoping he doesn't get gaced. But I do believe in this player, and I think he's going to be good for years to come.
But that's nothing to scoff about for his first game, for his NFL debut, and coming off the injury. It was a pretty good game.
Yeah, I felt good about it. And there was other situations. I went back and watched it. There were quite a few other situations where he was wide open and just didn't get targeted. So
I took over a dynasty team for somebody who had made a ton of trades, and I actually shipped off CeeDee Lamb to get Denzel Mims back in a package.
Nice.
So
Ooh.
I think it was the tight end who I was highest on coming into the season. I'd been touting him since I think March, was Blake Jarwin. And traded CD for Mims and Jarwin. It's a 2 tight end league, so you kind of want that extra tight end, and that's biting me in the ass right now. But next year, all right. This next pick here, I'm going wide receiver as well, and Nader, you might give me a little bit of shit for it because I am a Colts fan. I'm taking Michael Pittman.
That's a good pick.
Dude is a monster.
If he's
he's
anything
6'4", ran a 4.4 40, 220 plus pounds. I mean, the guy comped physically to Calvin Johnson.
Oh God, I don't know. You have to be a pretty big guy to be Calvin Johnson. Does he have the measurables?
Yeah, he's big.
Big guy. There we go. That's all we need is big.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Let me relook at. Okay. So I insulted Cam Akers earlier, but I'm still going to take him. I think he's still the best running back left on the board.
Yeah. All right. I will go with. I'm gonna go with Bryan Edwards.
Ooh. I wanted to do that because I took Henry Ruggs. I feel like it would make sense.
You know what? I just saw the comment that popped up. That's absolutely true. I didn't even think about Robinson since he wasn't on the thing.
I waited until you made your pick till I put that up there.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
I will put James Robinson in here. Thank you, George. So when I was typing out this list, I really just went to Fantasy Pros 2019 rookie rankings and then filtered by position. And James Robinson wasn't even on there, so that's why he wasn't on here.
So just for the sake of this, roughly how high would you guys have been willing to take him had we paid attention?
Based on what we know now, I would have taken him in the first round.
1-1.
1-1.
The top guy.
I mean, you have to think about it. He's the lone back right now. And Clyde Edwards, they're already looking for replacements for him. I mean, they took Lev Bell. They're probably going to take another one. He's just not getting it done in the red zone. Jonathan Taylor, he's not playing that great. When Marlon Mack comes back, it's just going to be a 50-50 split. Other than that, is there anybody else you'd rather have?
I can't tell if you're being serious or sarcastic.
See, that's the thing.
I would have taken him over Brandon Ayuk. I would have taken him over Burrow and Herbert. I would have taken him over Gibson.
Yes, I completely agree. I'd still go farther on the list.
Would you take him over DeAndre Swift?
Yes, for sure. I'm not a big believer in DeAndre Swift. I think he's good. I just don't think he's good. Great.
Garrett, what do you have to say about that?
It's tough. He would have been right somewhere between Gibson and T. Higgins for me, probably. He'd have been somewhere in there.
Okay, so you would have taken him over Justin Herbert.
Yes, I would have taken him over Justin Herbert. Yeah, him and Gibson are really, really close for me. I'd probably taken him over Justin Gibbs or Antonio Gibson. I mean, but it's close.
Well, let's move on and wrap this up here. Nader, you are on the clock here.
Okay, so you guys, this is another one of those mistakes where you didn't put him on the list. I'm gonna go. What's his name? Something P. Ryan. I forgot his name. Lamichael P. Ryan. There we go.
Samaje.
Lamichael
P. Ryan. I don't even know how to spell it. P. I don't know, something like that.
For those of you who aren't watching this, Lamickle Peryine.
It still says Lamichael P. Ryan.
Lamickle P. Peryine.
Hey, I'm not an English major. I'm just a fantasy football major.
Clearly. All right, Garrett, back to you. Let's finish this up here.
Let's do that. And I'm also gonna go off the board, and I'm gonna stay on brand. So I'm gonna take my boy DJ Dallas out of the U, and currently with the Seattle Seahawks. I've really believed in this guy's ability. I really believed in his tape. I believe I had him as the 6th ranked running back in this class coming in. And he's going to get his opportunity to show if he can do it this week. So I'm all in. I'm pot committed, and I'm sticking with DJ.
Give me Tua.
Ooh, Tua. I like that pick. I think that's a very good spot for him to go.
And Nader, you are here to finish it off for us.
Finish it off because so right now the only options I think are plausible are Zach Moss and Cole Kmet. But because Cole Kmet is not the starter and neither is Zach Moss, but Devin Singletary is not exactly getting it done right now. Eventually, they're going to see what they have in Zach Moss, and I think he's going to take over that role eventually.
You know, I thought you were going to take LaVisca. I
thought about it, but I just don't like the Jaguars. I think they're far off from being a good football team, and I'm not a big believer in the project wide receiver that he is.
Well, okay. Well, guys, that is going to wrap up the 2019 and 2020 rookie redrafts here for Dynasty. And hang on, let me go back and stop the share here. There we go. Now we're back. Now we are back. That's going to wrap it up for the show. Garrett, thanks so much for joining us, man. This was fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It is fun to go back and look at the class and, you know, how you would do things differently, or, you know, you're stubborn and you still believe in your guy. That's me mostly. But it's fun to go back and do it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you and follow you, support you?
Yeah, all of my stuff is with Dynasty Nerds. We have a podcast that comes out every week. We also have an extra episode for our Nerd Herd members. And then we do we have a lot of other stuff. We have a GM tool. We have our nerd score, lots of cool features on the website. And then I'm probably on Twitter a little bit too much, to be honest, especially if you ask my wife. But you can find me there at Dynasty Price.
And you can follow us on Twitter at Sleeper Wire Show. You can hit me on Twitter at prof_Chris SW and the Sleeper app at Professor Chris. And Nader, where can they find you?
So you can find me at Twitter at Top Tier Tactics _. Of course, you can follow my and my co-host's regular podcast at Top Tier Tactics on any type of listening platform, or you can find us on Instagram at TTT Fantasy Football. Now, I do want to say somebody in the comments said James Robinson over CEH. I just want to say I fully agree with you.
That is George from Break from the Grind and Sleeper Wire as well.
And he's correct. Great minds think alike.
Yeah, he's killing it. All right, guys, that is going to be the end of the show here. Garrett, thanks again for joining us, man. Everybody else, we will catch you next week.